Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Behind the Mic in our beautiful studios here at MusicTown on the second floor of Hockeytown, right next to our Lift Lounge here in downtown Detroit. Thank you for tuning in. Do appreciate that. And as I do every week, I bring in musicians, mostly local. Love to promote the local musicians around here. There's so many. As long as I do this show, I'll never reach them all. That's the thing. But I'm happy to be here and do this. And this week I have Kylee Phillips. Hi, Kylee.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, absolutely. Ready to go with the keyboard.
Yes.
That's a big keyboard.
It is a monster
for traveling.
keyboard.
Yes.
It
Most
weighs...
people bring the smaller version
on
the road.
I go big every time.
Go big or forget it,
exactly.
Right? I like that. Well, welcome. Thanks for coming in.
Thank
you. Do appreciate that. And we have Jake Lamond helping out on guitar.
Yes.
So welcome, Jake. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having me.
It was on my way here. I'm thinking, trying to remember, not trying, I know, when we first met and just laughing out loud. Hopefully the guy next to me, I'm sure, was thinking, what is wrong with her? But I remember we did the Canton Follies at the Village Theater in Canton, the beautiful theater there. And I was the MC.
Yes.
And what I was laughing about is I remember those costumes that I was wearing.
Yes.
It was just cool. It was... I can't believe I did that.
That's half the entertainment is the costuming. Half is the performance and half is the costumes.
Exactly. Well, just for everyone's benefit, this was a show. We did this like 3 years in a row.
Yes.
I think it was. So I was always the MC, and we did it by decades, and we'd go, and it was basically all about music. There was really no talking other than the MC.
Yes.
Explaining, like the era and everything. So we'd go through the eras, the 60s, actually, I think we did the 50s.
I think we did the 50s,
70s, kind of thing. And so each section, I had a different outfit on.
Yes. Decade appropriate.
Oh, my gosh. And the wigs. I mean, it was.
Is anyone like blackmailing you with photos of that or anything?
Not yet, thank God. But and the night that I remember the one night that they did film it was the worst night because I had a solo at the end. It was like the worst. Probably because I knew they were filming it.
It always is.
Tobacco, whatever. But Kylee was in the background because we had the live band on stage to play all this music. Mm-hmm. So you were in the background in the band.
Yes. I was music directing and doing some arrangements and stuff, and then was able to rope my band into playing. I always remember I made my drummer play "Whip It" by Devo, which is not a live drum on the recording. Like that's a machine. And I made him do it on a live drum kit. And at the end of every show, he would just lean over and whisper, "I hate you." It's like, I know, but thank you.
But it sounded great.
It sounded great.
I remember that particular song, the 3 guys or 4 guys, they had the Devo hats, the whole thing. Yeah. It was a lot of fun. I'm sure there's something on YouTube.
I'm sure it exists somewhere.
Maybe I shouldn't even encourage people to look.
Exactly.
Look for Kylee.
Yeah. Oh, goodness.
Which is interesting because you played, but you didn't sing anything.
I sang a little bit.
Okay.
I remember that I sang some harmonies in Afternoon Delight.
Okay.
And I sang Let's Hear It for the Boy.
Okay.
Which I was very pleased with that opportunity. That's a killer song right there. So I got to sing a couple random things, but for the most part, I was hiding in the background.
Yeah, it was cool, though. You guys were on stage. You weren't in the orchestra pit. Yeah. So the band was on stage with us. And
part of the show.
Yeah. Oh, good times. Oh, God, people are searching now.
Yes, exactly.
Please don't.
Googling like mad.
Oh, goodness. Well, that was where, I was, like I said, I was remembering those good times we had, performing the Canton Follies.
Yes.
And you playing the keyboards through all
time.
of that. So, and I didn't realize at that point, I didn't deal with getting the band together and everything. So, even though I was part of the production, I didn't realize you were basically a singer-songwriter.
Yeah. I never want to be that guy who's like, by the way, I do music too. I never want to be that jerk. So I usually don't speak up about it unless asked. But I do my own stuff too.
Yeah, you were kind of quiet.
Yes.
Yeah, the band was kind of on their own.
We're our own little world.
Back,
yes.
Step back.
Exactly.
But you were a huge part of it. Without the band, none of that would have worked.
Yes.
And so at that point, this was how many?
This was a while back, actually. Maybe
10
like
years?
something like
7,
that.
8,
7,
10?
8,
Ooh.
something. It was before I was married, so it was like at least the good old days. No, it was it must have been at least 6 or 7 years, something like that.
Oh, definitely more than that.
7, 8.
I'm guessing more like 8 or 9. Yes,
rounding up.
8 or 9, maybe 10. I don't know. But anyway, so here you are, playing in our Follies.
Yes.
And not realizing this is what you do.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I mean, you started this at a really early age.
Yeah, I've been playing. I think I was 14 when I joined my first official band.
Wow.
And we thought we were fantastic.
Of course.
Just as every 14-year-old does. But it was quite interesting. But yeah, so I think I was about 14 when I first started.
Do you remember
doing
the name
my
of the
own stuff.
band?
We were called Flight 101. And it was me and my cousin and a couple buddies, and it was a lot of classic rock tinged music.
Okay.
So I've moved beyond that now.
Any reference to Flight 101?
No. It was a name that existed. They came up with it when they were like 12 years old, before I was even a part of the band. So I was sort of I was adopted into the group.
Okay. Well, good.
Yes.
Good for you.
Yes, exactly.
I love the fact they obviously, had this vision.
Yes.
Flight 101, we're in
Yes.
the band. So, that's where it went. But,
Yes.
And 14, pretty darn young.
It was indeed.
That was 9th grade, maybe.
Yeah, just about 8th, 9th grade. Mm-hmm.
So this was kind of like the professional.
This was as professional as I got. I mean, we did relatively well. We won a bunch of like local battles of the bands and stuff like that. And so for the age we were okay. But it's the same thing. I actually had a coworker looking things up on YouTube the other day, and I had the exact same experience that you had of being like, no, shut it down. So it's an interesting thing to relive. But I think we were okay for the time being.
Well, those local band contests
Yes.
or the high school talent shows,
Yes.
that's where you really can hone your talent.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's funny to watch now me sort of like, I was just kind of hiding behind the piano at the time, and now having to be more of the front person and you start to get a little braver through those experiences.
So do you like that, more of the front woman?
I still kind of like to hide as much as I can, but I enjoy the interaction of being the front person and getting to have more of a conversation with the audience. But it's also still fun to just be in the band. My Jake Lamont, who's playing with me today, I get to be a part of his band from time to time and just do keys and backup vocals and like let him do the heavy lifting, and that's also fun.
I've heard that from artists. It's like sometimes they just want to, just tell me what to play.
For
I
sure.
just want to do my thing and not worry about running the show kind of thing.
You just show up and play music, and then he gets to stress about it.
I put her right up front with me, though.
It's true.
I make sure she's
It's true.
right up
He
there.
ropes me in, but yeah, it's nice to have a little balance of both.
Yes. What's the name of your band?
Just like Kylie, it's just Jake Lamont.
Yep.
Yeah,
Okay.
we're very creative in that way.
Yes, exactly.
Well, in this day and age, your brand is your name.
Yeah.
I go by PamRossi.com, Pam Rossi, everything. That's who you are.
Yeah.
It's gone in the days where they come up with these wild names.
Yes. Yes.
Some of them were wild.
Yes,
Some of them were
certainly.
like, what?
Yes. I still have a list of like fake band names.
Oh, give us a few examples.
Let's see. I'm trying to think of ones that are appropriate. Well, just recently we were saying that the Featurettes would be a really good band name.
Okay, yeah, that's
Because,
good.
on like DVDs when you're watching the Featurettes, that was a personal favorite. All the ones that keep coming to mind are inappropriate. So I'm going to shut myself
well,
down.
the Featurettes is really cool.
Yes,
That's a good
I like
one.
that one.
That is a good
I like
one.
that one.
Yeah.
It's a good one for radio.
Yes, exactly.
What's that?
radio
That's a
radio
good one for
appropriate.
radio. Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
thank you. All right, well, I'll tell you what. This is, let's go right into a song here. And let's hear what you got.
All right.
What are you going to start off with?
This is a new one, actually, and it's called Out There Somewhere.
All right, Kylee Phillips.
Ready?
My shoulders ache from all the straining they've been doing. My heart is racing. She's been shouting too loud, trying to rise above the crowd, and it feels like I'm seeing a familiar face that's been worn by the years, like a melody that's just out of reach, but it's still ringing in my ears. My eyes are tired, even more been shouting too loud, too loud, trying to rise above the crowd, and it feels like I'm seeing a familiar face that's been worn by the years, like a melody that's just out of reach, but it's still ringing in my ears, ringing in my ears, 'cause I know that I'm out there somewhere. Oh, I know that I'm out there somewhere. I've lost sight of me, not sure where I've been, but I know that I'm out there somewhere. Know that I'm out there somewhere. I know that I'm out there somewhere. Oh, I know that I'm out there somewhere. I've lost sight of me, not sure where I've been, but I know that I'm out there somewhere. Know that I'm out there somewhere. I know that I'm out there somewhere. Know that I'm out there somewhere. I know that I'm out there somewhere. Know that I'm out there. I've lost sight of me, not sure where I've been, but I know that I'm out there somewhere. Know that I'm out there somewhere. I know that I'm out there somewhere. Oh, I know that I'm out there somewhere. I've lost sight of me, not sure where I've been, but I know that I'm out there somewhere. Know that I'm out there somewhere. I know that I'm out there somewhere.
Nice. Kylee Phillips along with Jake Lamont. So new song. New
It
song.
is a new song, yes.
So you're working on a new album?
I'm mostly just working on things kind of song by song at the moment.
Okay.
It's I've been trying to kind of brainstorm how I want to do stuff moving forward, and I feel like especially in this day and age where people are consuming things, it's such a single based kind of
Yes.
culture,
Yes.
that I've been doing a lot of, just record it when we have it, record the song when you have it, and then hoping to start putting those things out kind of one by one.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So do you have a lot of songs?
I have
recorded?
a few. I have a handful, but honestly, I'm a kind of I don't know the word for it, but I'm a slow writer. I tend to kind of obsess over every little thing.
Perfectionist?
Yes, that's probably the nice way of putting it. But so it tends to be a slower process. So I've got a handful of songs that I'm working on right now.
Okay.
But yeah, it usually takes me a while. I get scolded by people who are like, "You need to write more." I'm like, I'm sorry.
Well, it sounds like that's, you like to write.
Yes.
But it's just, you need more inspiration or something
Yeah,
maybe.
it's a slower process for me, and I like to kind of take my time and at the end of the day have something that I am 100% confident in, and I guess it's a quality over quantity kind of thing. Although I know people who can do both, who can do quality and quantity, but I tend to fall on the other one end of the spectrum. So
Yeah, and I don't know the exact saying, but it's like you don't follow the better to be done than perfect.
yes, no, and I think sometimes it would probably be good for me to do a little bit more of that, but no, I do the focus and freak out about it until it's exactly what you want.
So these songs this handful that you already have recorded,
Yes.
so are you such a perfectionist that you go back and you're like, okay, this has to be different?
I have to do the walk away
Okay.
at the end of it, and actually my husband helps me a lot with the producing engineering side of things, and I think he is more in that realm than I am, where he hears the work he did and wants to go back and redo things
okay,
before
okay.
it goes out, and I'm always the one who's like, you know what, let's just let it go and move on to the next thing. But yeah, so I do all my obsessing in the moment, and then I kind of try to put it out into the world and let it go as much as I can.
Which is obviously hard for
yes,
you to do.
it's a challenge.
So what's the longest you took to write a song?
Oh goodness. I mean,
Years?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's funny. Jake and I were just talking about how you start to, you record voice memos
Yes.
of little ideas, and then I'll walk away from them forever. And this song, the one we just played, I think I started it in like January or something, and it was just kind of a voice memo living on my phone. And then a few months ago, started to go back through those things and see what were the ideas that I had, and pick out the ones that were worth investing some time in.
Yeah, it's if you take writing courses, you don't need to do that, but they call it something about digging for gems. So you find those one words or phrases.
Yes.
It's like, oh, that's it right there.
That's something.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're looking for the gems.
Yes, exactly, exactly.
I'm throwing out these phrases
Yes.
like, oh, whatever.
Yes, yeah.
It's something about that, but yeah, you look for, and sometimes you just write, like till your hand hurts.
Yes.
Or you put a timer on, okay, 15 minutes, nonstop, whatever comes to your head, and you don't think about it, whatever, and that's where you go back and you go, oh,
Yes.
that's really good
Yes.
line, or those two words together really sound really good.
Yes, I try to do, sometimes, I think sometimes you can get tripped up trying to be poetic or metaphorical or whatever, and there's times where I will make myself just write down what I'm feeling or thinking, and then like you said, you kind of dig through that and you're like, oh, there's some things in here that actually have some potential.
And you never know. I mean, if you stop your brain from just
Yes.
spitting it out, then you might lose something there.
Yes.
And maybe it's me too. And lately, I've been hearing songs, and I can't even tell you where I've been hearing them, but it's like the people, they wrote the song like a poem, and they try to fit the line into the with the music, and it's like, that just sounds so awkward. I've been hearing more of that lately. I don't know. Is that like what's happening?
I don't know. I mean, I think it depends on the writer. I know some people. I'm a very lyric-based person, where I tend to start with the lyric and like you said, kind of try to fit the music on top of that. But I know a lot of other folks who come at it from the opposite direction, where they have a chord progression, or they have a melody, or they have something like that, and then they build on top of that. So I think it's dependent upon the person, but I am like tied to the lyrics, and sometimes to a fault, I'm sure. Huh? Yes.
Well, of course, piano. Do you play other instruments?
I do not. I've been playing piano forever and ever. And every once in a while, I've been playing around with the ukulele a little bit, and just little things like that. But no, I'm a one instrument woman.
Did you have official lessons, or did you learn on your own?
I am just teaching myself. I got a beautiful ukulele for Christmas, and so I've been playing around with that, and it's fun. The nice thing is like the freedom to like sit on the couch and play it. I can't sit on the couch and play the piano. So
get this thing off
exactly, exactly. So that's the nicest part so far, that I can lounge while I play music. But unfortunately, I don't play the guitar or anything like that. So.
Well, the ukulele is...
It's a step in that direction.
There's only 4 strings on that, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, I can handle that.
Well, that's interesting. And again, YouTube, you can learn anything.
Yes, it's true. It's true. The internet is the place to be.
Thank goodness,
yes.
Right. Well, that's cool. So, but as far as a piano, how long have you, did you take lessons for piano too, or not, rather?
My parents put me in piano lessons when I was 6.
Okay.
To the point where the piano teacher said she usually didn't take students that young, and they were trying to like convince her that I had an ear for it.
Okay.
My dad is an amazing musician, and he learned a million instruments by ear, but never really learned to read sheet music. And so that was something he was pretty sure I had inherited his ear, but he wanted me to know how to play, how to read sheet music too. And so yeah, really early, I was 6 when they put me in lessons, and I took lessons until I was, I think, 12-ish. So I did like 6 years of lessons, and then just continued to do my own thing after that.
Yeah. Sometimes you get to a point the teacher's like, I can't teach this person anymore.
Yes. And she probably could. I'm sure there was much more to learn, but then I did a bunch of I play at church and did theater stuff and did my own stuff, and you continue to learn just by being put in uncomfortable situations.
Yes, that is true. Yeah, and those experiences, just helps you to learn to play live,
yes.
learn to improvise while you're
Yes.
up on stage? I'm sure
Absolutely.
that happens with most musicians.
Oh,
All
yeah.
of a sudden you're,
Yes.
wait a minute, the drummer went this way, or the
Yes.
guitar went, whatever,
Yes.
follow them,
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, at least you're not the drums where you kind of
No,
keep things
I'm
together.
not brave enough to do that. It's one you can't really hide mistakes on the drums. On the keys you can hide it a little bit more, but the drummer has to be brave and just go out there.
Do you still practice every day?
Not quite every day, but I try to practice as much as possible, and I try to just play around as much as possible. Yeah. I'm looking forward to, I live in an apartment right now, so I carry my keyboard up and down the stairs, but I'm looking forward to the day where I have a piano in the house that I can
Nice.
just sit down at from
Nice.
time. I was spoiled when I was living with my parents, so I still
Yes.
sometimes come over and just play their piano for a while.
I remember being in that house. I remember the piano.
Yes, it's a good one. It's a very nice one.
All right, how about another song?
Yeah, absolutely. This is a song that I wrote. I wrote a couple years back for my husband, who was having trouble sleeping. But I was saying, I've told this story probably a few times, but I just like that when you put a song out into the world, it sort of takes on new meaning, you know? And so this is a song that, as I've had different friends and family members have challenges in their life, it's kind of been a song. It becomes a song for them, and then I've had other people come to me and say they went through such and such, and the song brought some comfort to them. So I think that's what I appreciate about this song.
Nice.
So it's called Grown Up Lullaby.
You carry the weight, you carry the burdens, and you feel the ache. I know you're hurting, and although it's late, your mind just keeps turning. Oh, let the sleep come easy. I know your heart is restless inside you, and here in the dark, there's nowhere to run to. So be where you are. Know that I love you, and let the sleep come easy. Let the sleep come easy. And when you wake, enjoy the day. Don't go gather up the things you threw away. Just leave 'em be and breathe in deep. You're only heavy laden if you choose to be. Just close your eyes and sink into the night, and let the sleep come easy. I know you're strong, but life still gets heavy, and I know you'll press on. But when you get weary, there's a rest that'll come whenever you're ready. So let the sleep come easy. I know you can, but love you don't have to. You won't understand, but peace will come find you. So lay down your head. There's nothing left to prove. Just let the sleep come easy. Let the sleep come easy. And when you wake, enjoy the day. Don't go gather up the things you threw away. Just leave 'em be. So I'll hold you close, or I'll keep my distance. I'll sing soft and low, or we can just listen as the night unfolds. My only petition is let the sleep come easy, let the sleep come easy, oh, let the sleep come easy, let the sleep come easy.
Beautiful. Kylee Phillips with us behind the mic. Well, all grown-ups need a lullaby now and
yes,
then, right?
Yes, no kidding.
And your voice, that was like smooth.
Thank you very much.
I think you've been compared to Sarah Bareilles and Brandi Carlile.
Yes, very generously
Yes.
compared to that.
Very nice. I mean,
Yes, those
You'll
are,
take it, right?
Yeah, oh, absolutely, absolutely. That's like the biggest compliment. I keep saying if I could, like, trade lives with someone for a day, it would be Sarah Bareilles.
Really?
She's just done everything that I could possibly want to do. So
interesting.
yes, down to she just wrote a musical, and
Yeah.
she's done the a cappella competition show, and like she's friends with Ben Folds, all these things. I'm like, I will take all of those things.
Is she, and I could be wrong, is she the one that just did the Jesus Christ Superstar?
Yes, she
Yeah,
did.
okay,
Yes,
okay.
add that to the list.
Yes,
She's done.
yeah.
She's done everything that I could possibly want to do.
Very cool. Have you ever met her?
I have not.
Okay.
And I don't know what I would do with myself if I did. I would probably not
giddy.
be very. I would not be very cool. I would probably do a lot of heavy breathing and a lot of awkward statements. Is probably what would happen.
Kylie. No, you wouldn't.
We'll see. We'll see.
Especially if you trade places with her for a day.
Yes,
It's
yes.
like, oh, this isn't a piece
Yeah,
of cake.
exactly.
I wanted to make note of this. You also were performing as a soloist with the Windsor Symphony Orchestra and the Michigan Philharmonic.
Yes,
That is
yes.
cool.
Oh, so much fun. So much. I'm a big nerd for strings. Every song that I do, I'm like, I want, a string section and everything. And so to get to perform with an actual orchestra backing me up was the most fun ever. And so I've gotten to do some Christmas performances, and then the Michigan Philharmonic, I got to perform actually with my dad. We got to sing and do some one show they did was all Broadway stuff, so we got to do like Beauty and the Beast and Seasons of Love and things like that. And the coolest was once we got to sing Unforgettable by Nat and Natalie Cole with an orchestra and with my dad, and it was one of those very surreal moments where
Now that hopefully was recorded and you can find it.
I think it is. I think it is somewhere.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
And to do with your dad.
Oh yeah, it's so cool.
Very special.
It is very much. He's the one who made me a musician, and so it's cool to get to share those things with him.
Yeah. Well, that's good. Is that something you try to do more of, or just
the orchestra
Yeah,
stuff?
yeah.
It's kind of one of those like whenever they ask me, I say yes. So it's when these different opportunities pop up that whenever they ask, I will make myself available.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that really does look good on the resume.
Yeah.
Sing with the Philharmonic.
Yes, makes me sound a lot fancier than I actually am, but I'll take it. Yeah. Just kidding. I do that all the time. It's completely normal.
There you go. That's the spirit.
That's what I'm supposed to say.
All right, we're going to jump to the Pam exam.
Ooh.
Yes. Don't get scared.
I was going to say, it's been a while since college. I'm starting to get that.
Did you go to college for music?
I did, actually. I went to Wayne State right down the
good.
street for
Yeah.
music. Yes.
Good place.
Absolutely. I was very lucky.
Yeah, that's when people hear Wayne State, it's like, ooh.
Yes.
That's real.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And they provided a lot of the cool opportunities that I got. So,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it always helps when you have those connections.
Yes, I was
Yeah.
actually just the beautiful church right across the street. My choir would get to sing there once a year, and just little things like that. You get so many unique opportunities being down here, and we got to sing with the DSO and stuff like that. That it's like I would never have gotten elsewhere.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And when you do those things, it's like people all of a sudden, your name is out there
Yeah.
for other opportunities. You never know who's in the audience
Oh yeah,
or whatever.
It's
yeah,
always
for sure.
interesting connections you get to
Yes.
make. Yes.
you'll take them, right?
Yes, exactly.
And that church, I bet the acoustics were good in the church.
Oh my gosh, that's exactly what I was saying. It was just like unreal. It makes even the worst choir sounds good in that room because the acoustics are so beautiful. So.
Most churches are designed that way.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
They cover a multitude of sins. No pun intended.
No.
I didn't even mean to do that.
I always still love the recording from the Cowboy Junkies, the Trinity sessions, I think it was called, and just the sound, you could just tell.
Oh, yeah.
You know, it's just like, oh,
Yeah.
and I think they just did that with a couple microphones and nothing else, you know.
It's amazing.
Church acoustics, good.
Yes.
Good place to record.
Absolutely.
All right. How you've been in the area all your life, right?
Yeah, I have grown up in the Plymouth Canton area.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, so I don't know if you will know this, but I'm going to throw it out there. I'm not sure why I have this in here, but it's kind of a way out there. But fouling or feather bowling?
There's a difference between those two?
Yes. Fouling is where you toss the football at the bowling pins.
Oh.
That's a Detroit thing.
I've never. I know that I keep hearing about the feather bowling, but I didn't know there was a difference.
Okay. All right. See, that's an interesting
Being
one. I don't know if
educated here.
Most memorable music moment.
Most memorable music moment. Goodness. I'll say the first one that came. Is this as a performer or as an audience member?
Either or.
Oh man, so many options. Well, I'll say something that was really formative for me was, once again, my dad would take me to the Ark in Ann Arbor all the time growing up.
Yeah.
It was just kind of like I wouldn't know who I was going to see, but I would just tag along. And I remember going to see Beth Nielsen Chapman there, and she was kind of the first one I saw do the whole, singer-songwriter woman behind the keys, telling stories. And I remember, it sounds super cheesy, but I remember having one of those like, oh, that's what I want to do kind of moments.
Okay.
And so that's the first one that pops to mind. That was a big one. Yeah.
When and about how old were you?
I must have been, maybe 10 years old or something like that.
Very impressionable.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool that your dad did all that for you.
Yeah.
And that was cool. He takes you and didn't tell you, and
He would just be like, I'm going to go see so-and-so. Do you want to come? And I would say, I have no idea who that is, but sure. And I would just go along
and
for
then
the ride.
and that was something that it was ingrained. It's like, I can do this.
Yeah.
I'd like to do that. Yeah.
And actually one day I was opening for someone at the Ark, for Seth Gleer at the Ark.
Oh, yeah.
And it was my dad's birthday, and I asked Seth if I could bring my dad up on stage to do a song. And it was one of those cool kind of full circle things of getting to, he loves that place and loves that stage, and to get to like include him in that was really cool. I got a lot of daughter brownie points for that. So
Cha-ching.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, that's really special.
Yeah.
And that's a great place to, I know, at least see a show. I don't know about performing. I would imagine.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's such it's truly a listening room where people come to sit and listen.
Yes.
And you don't have to worry too much about the whispers and the beers clanging
That's
and whatever.
True. Good point.
It's very nice to have people who actually want to listen.
And then it's in Ann Arbor, and then they're serious.
Yes,
they want to go see a show, and they do. They sit there and they're very quiet.
Yes, I know there's some musicians who have been a little bit freaked out by that, because it's like you can hear a pin drop.
Don't make a mistake. Don't make a mistake.
Yes.
Any special holiday traditions? We're getting up to the holidays here.
So many. I am a Christmas fanatic, and actually I can't even remember how many years ago now we started it. We started having a little Christmas like party / house concert.
Oh, fun.
And one of my good friend, Nick Rapson, my good buddy Nick Rapson.
Yeah. Oh, he was in the Follies.
He was in the Follies with us. He, at the end of the night, just said to me, so we're doing this every year, right? At the end of like the first one. And we said, I guess so. I guess it's an annual thing now. And so I want to say we're coming up on like the 6th year or something doing that.
Okay.
And so that's a big tradition, but we have limitless family traditions. My siblings and I make my parents do the same things every year. So
that's cool. I like to hear that. I'm a big, I'm with my family. I'm half Polish, half Italian.
Yes.
There are lots of traditions in both those sides.
Yes.
And it's really cool. And my daughter just, this past Christmas pulled out our cookbook we did. Long story on that, but she pulled it out so she could do the traditions.
That's so cool.
And I was like, oh,
yeah,
well, it works.
Yes, exactly. You're passing those things down.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yes.
All right, cool. Is there a song, a person, or an event? Well, I think you may have answered this when you saw Beth at the Ark that inspired you. So, okay. Sorry, I should have looked at it closer.
No.
What is your guilty pleasure?
Oh, goodness gracious. I'll say popcorn. That's the first thing that came to mind. I think I could subsist on popcorn alone for a very long time. And yeah, I am constantly saying to my husband, I'm making popcorn again. Don't judge me. I know this is like the third night in a row, but I'm doing it. And don't say anything about it. We're going to pretend like this never happened.
Okay, the question is, do you do the best way where you put the oil in the pan with the lid on it?
See, that's the best way to eat it, but for the sake of my waistline, I air pop it a lot.
Good.
But if calories didn't exist, then it would be oil on the stove every time.
Which, yes, yeah, that's the best way. Do you have a ritual before a performance?
I actually I drink coffee with some sort of non-dairy in it before every show, and it's funny because I know so many singers who swear off coffee and dairy before a show, but for me it just kind of warms up my throat and coats it a little bit
so
and
does
helps
tea.
me out. I know, but it's that water thing where I feel
okay.
like the water kind of strips it. Every like vocalist listening right now is going to be horrified by the fact that I said that.
Yeah,
but
when people that don't know, and I use my voice for
Yes,
speaking
yes.
and voiceovers, so caffeine and dairy
Yep,
is the worst.
are all the things that people swear
never
off.
before you do
I
a
know,
session
I know.
you do coffee.
I know.
Caffeine. Or
It's for some reason.
Hey, it works for you,
It
right?
works. It
Then
helps
that's
me.
fine.
I've got my coffee with me right now. Jake is the good one. Jake's always on the water and tea.
I'm just paranoid. So
Oh,
I
and by the
try.
way-
I need all the help I can
Yes,
get. You know,
yes.
Kylie's already sounds good right when she wakes up.
Push.
And I meant to say, by the way, if you have a answer to any of these, you're welcome to throw in.
Please.
We're not
Before
ignoring you
every
over there,
show,
Jake.
I like to sacrifice at least one. No, I'm joking. One small animal.
I was gonna say I was so curious to say what you were gonna say you sacrificed.
One small animal before every
Just
show.
one.
Just
Just
to
one.
warm up.
Yes.
Just to get in the mood for
Yes.
singing these breakup songs.
Yeah, and you take the blood and make, marks. all over
Exactly,
your-
war
I don't go
paint.
that far,
Yeah.
Pam.
Sorry.
Let's not get sick.
Oh, gosh.
All right, so you have a half or full day to kill in Metro Detroit. What would you do?
Oh man. I mean, I'm a big I enjoy driving, which
Really?
sounds kind of silly, but I'm a big fan of just going for a drive on, avoiding highways and either listening to podcasts or listening to music, and I find that I do a lot of like mental songwriting while I'm driving around, hence
Okay.
all those voice memos we were talking about. So yeah, I like to just kind of go for a drive.
So you just, road trip. like,
Yes,
I'm out of here.
I
Do you
usually-
by yourself or take your husband? Or?
I'll bring my husband if he's willing to go along for the ride,
Mm-hmm.
but I usually just kind of drive aimlessly. I try to find a pretty road and just go.
Interesting.
Yeah.
And there's several roads. They'll put the sign of Natural Beauty Road or
Yes,
something.
all the scenic stuff.
Yeah.
Yes. It's
I bet you found some cool stuff in the backways.
yeah, you can stumble across a lot of things, or at the very least, just like giant houses that are hidden back in the woods and
Oh.
things like that. There's a lot of interesting stuff out there. But
That's good. I mean, my sister and I went on a road trip. I flew out to California, and
Oh,
then
cool.
I drove back with her, and we had no plan. That's
Yes,
cool. You're
yes.
just like no plan. Well, the only thing was it was all great. We found some really cool things and everything until we found ourselves. We were on a road, and we were kind of going down. This is near Yosemite, and all of a sudden we were in a cow field.
oh
And
goodness.
no more road. So it was like
You ran out of
we
road.
ran out of road.
That's very poetic. I feel like there's a country song about
There you
that.
I love the fact though. Just get in a car, and do you do this often? Just
As often as I can afford to, and especially when you've got like your question said, when you've got like a day to kill
Yeah.
and it's pretty outside, it's at the very least I'll just start driving west. But if we have more time to kill, my husband and I have gone up the west side of the state and stuff like that.
and I mean, I can imagine too if you head up to the UP.
Oh yeah.
Upper Peninsula, for anyone not knowing.
Yes.
The UP, you can really just.
That's our goal. We
drive
haven't
and find some
we haven't
beautiful
gotten
places.
up there yet.
Yes.
Well, at least not recently. So
Yeah.
that's our next whenever we can find the time. I know it's quite a hike, but
Oh
we
no.
want to get up there.
Oh, I love that. Yeah, that's cool. Just get in the car and go.
Yes.
And it's like head west.
Exactly. I know there's long roads. Just hop on like North Territorial and just go and see where you end up.
Yeah. And you can always get off a highway.
Exactly. If you get really lost. I've never hit a cow field, but I have hit a highway a time or two.
And I did that with my cousin. We ended up in a cow field, a cornfield.
Oh,
It was like, and the workers all looked up and were like, "What are you doing
This
here?"
seems to be a theme with you.
I'm sorry. Oh my God, you're bringing
so
back
funny.
some funny memories.
That's what I'm here for.
It's like they all looked up at all these workers in the fields are like, what the
That's
heck?
so funny. That's really good. I'm gonna
In
be
her
keeping
little
my eyes
Carmen
peeled
Gia,
now.
we were Okay. What do you think of when you hear the word success?
I think success to me is enjoying the process of making music. I think it can be easy to have it become, just a job, or have it become an obligation. And I give a lot of credit to people who are full-time musicians and who find that motivation. But for me, it's a challenge. My full-time job is not music, and so to me, the thing I shoot for is to enjoy the whole process of the writing and the recording and the performing, and so as much as possible, you have to find that balance between pushing yourself, but also I have the luxury of not having to rely on it for my living and stuff like that, and so I try to have as much fun in the process as I can.
And if you're not having fun, then what's the point?
Exactly. Yeah.
And I know for a lot of musicians too, another job is important.
Yes. Yes.
you need that.
Yes.
But it's really great when a musician can get to that point. It's like, okay, I don't need this other job, and I want to focus on here. That's a challenge for many musicians.
Yeah, and I have a lot of friends who have made it their full-time job, and I I admire them a lot, because it is a lot of work, and they're running from one thing to the next, and making do with what they can, and it's quite a sacrifice, but they do it beautifully. So.
Well, and it's not just about the music. You've got to book the gigs.
Yes.
You've got to write the music. You've got to set up the band if you don't have a full-time band, and if you do, you got to make sure that they're all available at the same time.
Yes.
There's quite a bit to it.
Yes.
You could do it all in a spreadsheet.
Yeah.
to try to figure it out.
It becomes a business sometimes, like anything else. You have to be organized, and I mean, you're basically self-employed, so you have to keep yourself organized.
And then you think, oh gosh, I got to pay taxes.
Yes,
on this.
exactly.
There's that too.
Exactly. We try not to think about that.
Oh, all right. Your favorite Detroit area museum?
Detroit area. I mean, it probably sounds like a cliche, but Hitsville is my favorite, and my husband actually still hasn't gone. That's on our list of things that he needs
road
to
trip this time.
Exactly. We'll go east this time. But yeah, I just love it. It's one of those surreal things where it's so many of the songs that were made in that very space, and it's just a crazy
how small it actually is.
Yes.
I know that's true. And they're doing this huge renovation on it. Like, they're spending millions on this thing. I don't know if they started that. I'm not sure.
I'm not sure, actually.
Yeah, but that'll be interesting. But I'm so glad they're keeping that core building so you can still feel it. I mean, and people have said that they go in there, they can feel the, it's like kind of eerie almost.
Yes.
Like, what was made in this room?
Yes, exactly.
Just to imagine and stuff
They
like
do
that.
all the paperwork on like the kitchen table
Yeah.
upstairs.
Yeah.
They had like the reverb chamber in the rafters.
Yes, I love that.
They'd like hire they'd give like students walking home from school. They'd like have them come in and clap or something on a record. That's pretty cool.
It's so cool.
The creativity, in the minds of the people running that and putting that all together is just amazing, and thank goodness is all I can say.
Yes,
thank
absolutely.
goodness, for Hitsville and Motown, and thank you, Barry.
Yes.
All right. These are fill in the blank.
Okay.
I'm really good at.
Oh man, that's a bad thing. My first that I went blank on that one. I'm really good at singing. That's a total cop out.
Nah.
It's the first thing that came to my mind.
That's okay.
I always say I learned piano just so I could sing.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Instead of guitar, you can still learn guitar. And
It's true. I guess this was the lane I was sent down.
You have the piano at home.
Exactly.
yeah, that makes a difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm really bad at.
Being diligent. I procrastinate a lot.
Yeah, we learned that earlier.
Yes, so I guess that I could have said I'm good at procrastinating.
Oh, that's funny. I'm good at procrastinating. All right, one more question here. The biggest obstacle in the music industry today is blank.
Oh man, that's a biggie. I mean, The first thing that popped into my head was just it's hard to cut through the noise, you know? There's just so much out there. But I also hesitate to say that because what's so cool about that is that anyone can put out there. I can make something in my house and put it on Spotify, and so it's kind of a pro and a con at the same time. I think it's hard for good stuff to cut through the clutter sometimes, but I also think it's really beautiful that that all of us can make our thing and put it out there, and it kind of evens the playing field. So I think it's kind of a challenge in a good way and a bad way.
Yeah, because how do these people find you when there's so much to find?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, that is. And how have you dealt with that? How have you?
I mean, like I said, the fact that that I do music kind of on the side and not as my main gig is helpful, because then I can sort of focus on making what I want to make and not have to worry about that as much. But I really feel like a big part of it, the local musicians that I've seen that I really respect and that I've watched succeed at this, I feel like they really connect with people directly, be that at shows or even just via social media. Like, they really get to know people, and it's really cool to see it become more of a community thing and a relationship thing as opposed to just putting out content, you know? They form relationships with people, and then those people want to hear more, and it's been really, it's cool to watch people do that.
Yeah, that's probably half of it, is being able to connect with people. You can't, not just through your music, but through who you are.
As a human being, yes.
Well said, Kylee, well said.
Oh, it was so much pressure. I started sweating a little when that question came up.
How about another song?
Absolutely. This one is a song that I wrote for my little brothers, mostly for my little brother Sam, and so it is called Song for Sam. You ready, sir?
Keep looking at this picture of you, and how you're smiling like you never knew what's outside your door, the darkness all around you. Well, who knew that the shoulders would come to hold the weight of the world? Knots undone, pain unsung, things that don't belong to you. Let 'em go, let 'em go, let 'em go, let 'em go, let it go. Keep looking at this picture of you, and how you're smiling like you never knew what's inside your mind, the things that try to tether you. Who knew that this heart would become so very worn while it's still so young, so full of life, it's capable of killing you. Let it go, 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 let never stopped holding on, holding on. So let go.
Nice. Kylee Phillips, along with Jake Lamont on guitar, playing along.
Mm-hmm.
Let it. That was the name of that again.
Song for Sam.
Song for Sam. I'm
Yes.
sorry. Yes. We have a few more minutes, but I wanted to throw out here. Can you give me the scoop on the James Taylor tattoo?
Oh, the James Taylor tattoo. Yes. Yes, I'm quite a big fan.
Okay.
Crazily so. No, he has a song called "The Secret of Life" that I genuinely quote it to myself as a reminder on a regular basis. The first line is the secret of life is enjoying the passage of time, and I'm a person who I get a little freaked out by change. And I'm also very nostalgic, and I can tend to live in the past. And I try to remind myself that if I want to really enjoy my life, I have to learn to enjoy the passage of time, the moving forward. And so the tattoo is that first lyric, but it's also in my parents' handwriting. So I got my mom knew I was doing it, and my dad didn't know I was doing it. And I thought he might disown me for it, but he didn't. He was actually very touched by it. So I was pleased that he didn't kick me out of his family. But so it's kind of a double meaning. The lyric means a lot to me, but it's also, I have my parents' handwriting on me for the rest of time.
I'm not sure there are too many people that have a James Taylor line on their arm.
I was saying, I can't imagine how weird it would be to have some person you've never known tattoo your lyrics on their body. But I'm that guy. I said something to my dad about like, oh yeah, I'm a fan, and he was like, yeah, you're a bigger fan than me.
To permanently
to
ink
literally
it on you.
put it on your skin.
Huge fan. Yeah.
Yes.
Have you seen him before live?
I saw him. Was it last summer when he came through town with Bonnie Raitt?
Oh, okay. Oh,
and that was
yeah.
like, speaking of memorable music moments, that was one of my like bucket list kind of things. And so yes,
Yeah.
I saw him once, and I can say that I've seen him.
Yeah, you need to see him at least once.
Yes.
Yeah,
I'll see
and he's
him.
still going strong. It's amazing how
Oh, yeah.
he's still touring
Yes.
and doing
Voice
his.
sounds great,
He
too.
sounds fantastic.
Yeah. Yes.
And Bonnie Raitt too. Oh my gosh.
Love Bonnie.
She's just the coolest. She just, as everything she does, you're just like, oh.
Yeah,
so
that's another one of those very talented, and she does a lot with, charities, and I mean,
Yes.
it seems like if someone asks her, she's on
Yes,
it.
yes,
It's like
she's keeping
she's
busy.
everywhere,
Yes,
which
yes.
is good.
Oh, yeah.
When you think about it, it's like, well, I love playing and. Doesn't care. I don't care what stage
Yeah,
I'm on. Just
exactly.
sure, I'll do that.
Yes.
I'll do that.
Yes.
Whatever. And she just seems like that type of person.
Yes.
And,
Yep.
and I did have the privilege of meeting her backstage once, and
Oh,
yes,
so cool.
super down to earth, and
That's
yeah,
good to
love
hear.
Bonnie.
That's
so
good
yeah.
to hear.
Yeah, and you do that as well. You do a lot of charities when you get a chance, don't you?
Yeah, I try to do as much as possible. I just yesterday played a benefit for the Walk to End Alzheimer's,
Okay.
and then upcoming this next Sunday on the 7th, Jake and I are both playing an event to benefit Young Life out in South Lyon. So they're a youth organization out
nice.
there, and so we're going to be playing out in South Lyon this Sunday.
Okay. Well, while you're at it, where else upcoming things that you're doing?
Honestly, that's the big one. I haven't done a headline date in a long, long time, so
Oh, you're due.
Exactly. So I have this headline date coming up, and then honestly, I think I'm going to be focusing on recording for a bit.
Okay.
But I also play a lot of gigs with Jake. Like I mentioned, it's fun to be in the band. So I do as many shows with him as he'll let me play.
He'll let me.
Yes, exactly.
Did you know that's how she felt about it?
No, I didn't.
Well, now you know.
No, I knew.
You know.
I definitely
And
knew.
now it's on the record.
Perfect.
We feel the same way about each other. So
Take
Very good.
turns.
That's good. All right, and so if for people that want to find you and whatever you are doing or
Yes.
your music, what's the best way?
I have KyliePhillips.com, and then I'm Kylee Phillips Music on Instagram and Facebook and all of that stuff.
Kylee.
Yes, yes.
So many ways to spell.
I know.
The K
My
words.
parents got creative. So I am EE.
Kylee.
Yes.
Yes. Very good. Well, it has been a pleasure seeing you again. It's been so long
I know.
since we've.
I know.
I I'm trying to remember. I think we saw each other after the Follies, but maybe not.
I think so. It's been a
Yes,
while, but
it's been a while. But yes, wanted to get you in here and play. So wonderful.
I really
sounding good
appreciate it.
and everything. So thank you very much for coming in. And thanks, Jake. Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
And thanks for helping
me.
her out there and with a little guitar and some vocals as well. So again, thank you so much. And thanks to all of you out there for watching another edition of our Behind the Mic here at MusicTown on the second floor of Hockeytown next to our Lift Lounge in downtown Detroit. Thanks again. So we do appreciate that. I'm Pam Rossi. Have a great week.